Pod.
Rugby pod.
Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Pod with me, Dan Bigger, and my esteemed colleagues, James Hamilton, Andrew Goode, and producer Rob.
I can't believe we've started like that.
We've got 3 happy men in studio this week and a semi-happy Welshman. They still took 50, though. Jim Hamilton, Scotland.
In the big one.
The big one, put 50, kept a clean sheet.
Let's not be horrible. We nailed them.
Yeah, you did. Kept a clean sheet as well and scored a load of tries against Tonga. Wales.
Look good.
Yeah.
Showed a bit of ticker, didn't they?
Showed some ticker, attacked well, took 50. Everyone's asking what a Ravo's arm is. They took a Ravo's arm. And so, yeah, we'll discuss all this, won't we, James?
Yeah, there's loads going on. We'll be looking at possibly the craziest game of rugby ever, which, of course, involved the South Africans. 5 yellow cards, a red card. It could have been, let's be honest, it could have been 7 or 8 yellow cards.
Yeah,
but we will get into it. I know. But the big talking point, oh, my scrums. Oh, my scrums. Rassie finally gets a win in Dublin, though, and the fans are going at it online, and I'm there for it.
All right, so settle back, enjoy, and make sure you're subscribed on Spotify.
Attaboy. Here we go, lads. I've been waiting for this one all weekend.
This episode is presented by Ford and the new Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid. Going hybrid definitely doesn't mean losing strength.
The Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid still carries a 1-ton payload and tows up to 3.5 tons. In short, even though it's a plug-in hybrid, it's still packing all that Ranger muscle.
The new Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid. More power, just in case. Order before the end of December and get a free home charger included. Search Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid or visit ford.co.uk for more information.
Right, lads, straight into it.
Yes.
Ireland humperdinked.
They weren't.
It looked like they were humperdinked against South Africa. 13 points to 24. Where do we start? Incredible. What I will start with is a positive for Ireland. It'd be easy to go all in on South Africa and talk about the scrums.
You will, though.
We will get onto that. Genuinely impressed with the ticker of Ireland. And that isn't to belittle Ireland and say,
Well, you are.
I'm not.
You're doing the Scots thing, aren't you?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm not doing.
Plucky losers.
No, that's not what I'm doing.
I've had so many messages from Irish people
Well,
saying, we ain't happy with being plucky losers.
do you know what summed up the Ireland performance is the news around Ryan Beard breaking his leg in the game and carrying on.
Hard.
Warrior.
Yeah.
And we will get into the scrums, right? I've been in scrums. Andrew, you look like
I've been in an international scrum.
Have you?
Yep.
So you know what it's like
At
then?
the Principality.
Was it going back at the rate of knots or not?
No, the reason for it was I had more weight than Joe Worsley and, and Jamie Roberts was playing 12 for Wales and Joe Worsley was going to smash Jamie Roberts. Neither thing worked.
So basically, he was a better tackler and you were a better scrummager.
I had better scrummager than Joe Worsley, that's why.
Well, you know what it's like then to be in a scrum. Biggs, you don't.
No,
I
do
do
not.
when it's going back at the rate of knots. But how Ireland conducted themselves going down to 12 men, they won the second half, lads. 6 points to 5. I know the game is getting mixed reviews, and I tweeted it, exit, whatever you call it. I thought it was an incredible game of rugby. Loads of talking points, loads of jeopardy, and 2 phenomenal teams. One specifically in South Africa, phenomenal team doing what they did in Dublin was just incredible to watch. That's what I meant when I said incredible.
And you got to credit Ireland for what they showed in that second half. You've also got to question what's going on at Aviva Stadium. There wasn't enough chairs for the sin bins, and that's why Matt Carley didn't sin bin Paddy McCarthy as well, just at the end of the first half for the penalty tries. There could have been more, and the Irish are going mad about it, aren't they, in reality? An Englishman giving out yellow cards, red cards, not giving Sasha Feinberg, Omga Mazulu a yellow card, which we can debate and talk about. That's a yellow card every day of the week, in my opinion. And ultimately, I think like the better team won, the more powerful team won. The scrum is king. And, people are like, depower the scrum. There's some great refs out there that just say play the ball. No, rugby and scrums are integral to the game, right? And South Africa, they're the best in the world at it without a shadow of a doubt. And you need to reward dominance, which they did get. But Ireland, in the face of so much adversity, stood up. And you're playing the best team in the world. There's no two ways about it, right? And I know there's history between Ireland and South Africa. Where South Africa are at now, they've accelerated over the last year.
The gap's growing, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of the difference. And there's a few teams that are in that second band, like your Englands, your Irelands, France as well. I was going to say nearly Scotland, but maybe not. But Scotland, these teams, Argentina.
We're bottom of that list, and that's what we've gone through.
But the reality of it is, I think Ireland can be proud of the effort and the desire and the heart and the ticker and all that stuff.
Look at him. Hang on, look, you're belittling them now.
Oh, no, I'm not. That's not belittling them. That's like the courage they showed. You go down to 12 players. You could have taken 60 points.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That game felt to me like how it was 24-13 or whatever it was, it finished, is just beyond me in terms of probably the Springboks will actually be probably quite disappointed that they left quite a lot of points out there in the Aviva Stadium. But yeah, you have to say not many other teams I don't think would have not cracked down to 12 men.
England wouldn't.
If you listen to England, they're world champions now. But
who's saying that?
Rob sent me a voice note saying South Africa. He texted me 5 minutes into the game, or when England went 17-0 up, saying the Springboks are going to be worried now about playing England.
Well, that's Rob for you.
I texted back 20 minutes later saying I don't think they're so worried about it now when it was 17-16 or whatever.
Yeah. But that's Rod though, the England fan sat at home having 4 cans of lager.
But I do think that Ireland deserved a huge amount of credit in terms of how they hung on in there and made if they'd have scored with a couple of minutes ago, would have been in with a shout of some remarkably been within a score with a minute or so to play. Look, undeniably, the weekend has shown, or this series I think has shown, that there is a clear gap between South Africa and the rest.
The foundations of that?
The foundations of that are set piece, kicking game, and defence.
And strength and depth.
And strength. I saw Rassie say he used 50 players this year. 50 players, and they are as good as ever. So there's no sort of drop off, or there's no sort of hit and miss in terms of their performance. They look as good now as they've ever been. And I actually feel like they've gone, back to a bit of type in terms of this autumn. I found that they've gone, because we've spoken about how many X Factor players and how they can play, but I actually think this campaign they've gone aerial, they've gone set piece, and they've just said we're coming after you physically, and that's kind of like the South African model. And but where they're so impressive is that when it comes to big matches, like they did in France, like they did in Dublin last weekend, if it gets into an arm wrestle, they'll beat you that way. If it gets into a loose game and they get Colby and Aronson and Willemson on the ball, they can beat you that way as well. So the problem is when you're looking at them, where is the weakness? You tell me where the weakness is with them.
I can't see a weakness. And where we're seeing a weakness with the All Blacks, Argentina, the way they've started games, and Australia specifically, is they're off the back of a long season. Where does South Africa fit into that long season?
They're playing 52 weeks,
They play and they go every single time. And
isn't there a stat where Steph Dutoy hasn't started a club game or something?
Yeah, I think if you're in Japan, you're all right.
Hence why
If you're in Japan, you're all right. But
Hence
the
why
other
they go.
boys in the URC, but they get looked at. I tell you who play a lot more, the Argentinians.
Yes.
Because I think it was 9 of them that play in the Prem. The rest of them are playing the top 14. But the South Africans get looked after in a certain way, but it is a 52-week-a-year calendar for them, effectively. And it's planning, and that's what Rassie's strength is. And when you talk about 50-odd players that he's talking to all the clubs in South Africa. So the Sharks and all that stuff, and the Lions and all the other clubs, the Bulls, and saying, right, we actually need to plan a season properly so we have these South Africans ready to go for the big games, their internationals. And he's talking about changing a lot of stuff for this week, isn't he, and rotating. And he's probably going to play Esther Hazen at prop this week just to see how the crack is there. But he talks about innovation and building depth when they're on a 52-week season because of the seasons. In terms of the international season, they're in the Southern Hemisphere, club season, their players are in the Northern Hemisphere. You've got to plan it and work it and balance it, and he's done it very well, hasn't he?
Do you know what I've been really impressed with them as well in terms of we've said that they've gone into almost beast mode in terms of set piece, scrum penalties, kicking game, aerial and things, but they've got so many game breakers and X Factor players that you look at sort of against Italy, Kane Moody gets on the outside when the game's in the balance, back inside Grant Williams, and he's under the sticks and scores. The weekend, sort of, you have some X Factor players in Willemson, brilliant finish in the corner. Reinach gets through, so what they're doing at the minute, they're relying on, and this is what I always get quite frustrated when people say, oh, well, they just relied on one moment of brilliance. They weren't actually that good. Well, that's what you have when you have those X Factor players in your team. You need those big players to step up in big moments. And ultimately, why South Africa are way above the rest at the minute is because they've got too many X-factor brilliant players who step up in big moments. I mean, you could give Steph Totoy a man of the match every single game he plays, couldn't you?
When I look at South Africa, I don't want to sound like a broken record. The physical dominance that they have and the foundations, which is the obvious thing to talk about now, is the scrum. With that physical dominance, and you saw it, and I looked at Ty Furlong without being harsh, and I looked at a broken man. Because what happens is that physical dominance in the front row as a forward, as the game, yes, it's evolved in the front row specifically, mentally it affects you. I've been in scrums that are going back at the rate of knots, and you go inside yourself, and you've got to dig and try and find something. But you look at South Africa, then they bring on another front row before half time, and they're literally like, it's so demasculating when it's going on, because it's a physical game, right?
Yeah.
It's
a man test. Though,
it's a man test, and that's where I know there's a lot of stuff going around there around the scrum. I was at World Rugby, and I had the feeling when I was there they were trying to not devalue the scrum, but make it less of a contest. Get the ball in, get it away.
It's the bedrock of the game.
And play. And this is what, so on social media, when I put it out there, talk about the scrum, it's like boring, it's 130 minutes the game in an 80-minute game. But that's the game. That how we package them moments of downtimes as the scrums are setting up isn't down to the players, isn't down to us doing a podcast. That they can make that a sellable and more entertainment
based,
showpiece within the game. But the scrum is literally the heartbeat of what rugby union is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just rugby league, and it all looks the same.
Well, I mean, we keep saying we're running out of sort of impressive stats and things to say about the Boks at the minute, but like that front row, Porter, Furlong, Sheehan was deemed to be the best in the whole of the British and Irish Isles 5 months ago, and was just taken apart.
I've never seen a scrum
just taken apart and
go back like that.
And I have to say,
we had a few at Leicester. Alex Marino, when he was at title
in
prom,
an
he was getting
international
brown
match,
man.
I can remember in a tier one
yeah.
game. I remember England at the World Cup when the bomb squad came on.
Another interesting thing for me: 41 minutes on the clock when Rassie made the changes in terms of 41 minutes played in terms of just before half time, wasn't it? The clock was in the red. How often, like 45 minutes is about the right time to bring props off. They would have probably gone 45, 46 minutes. So he's only actually making those subs 3-4 minutes early. But what he'd have seen Ireland on the ropes. He'd have seen that Detoy and
Venter,
would have been like, that was an absolute brutal test match. That first 40 minutes, collisions, work rate, kick chase, aggression, scrums, mauls, etc. So like they probably wouldn't have been far off emptied out in terms of their game. So all of a sudden they bring in Wilco Lowe at 144 kegs and Steenkamp coming on fresh for one scrum or two scrums, and then they get another 10 minutes to sit down and go again. Tell me any other coach that does that.
but they don't have the luxury to do
They
that.
don't. Well,
I was just
England,
happy.
you could argue. England, not in the same. But we've just praised for the last 3 or 4 weeks England's bomb squad or bomb squad. So we've said that, right, well, that's where the game's going. And we've said that England have been masterful in how they've used their bench. So what I'm trying to say is, what other coach would have done that?
That's a fuck you statement by Rassie. So when I talk about luxury, or when you look at that happen, I was laughing not at Ireland, I'm laughing at the situation. Just because if you're a player, right, and you're going through that on the pitch, you're praying for half-time. Ireland were praying for half-time, down to 12, getting absolutely hosed, looking at the clock, it's in the red, and you've got a scrum, and then a new front row come on. And that, when we talk about England and the POM squad, you're not looking at them and being like, oh gosh, please, I'm begging you, don't bring them on.
Yeah.
You know there's a bit of excitement. South Africa's got the ability to bring that front row on, and let's be honest, Bowen Venter's not rolling off the tongue when you think about Springboks.
But you think of Bowen Venter, he's been hooked off 24 minutes into games over the last few weeks. He let him go to about 39 minutes this time. So,
But
hey, mate, you've done well, carry on. Now you're off.
But it's just
Still missing
unbelievable.
Oxenchair, still missing Franz Malherbe.
There you go. And then you look at an RG Snyman.
How? What do you do?
So we can sit here and we can be all over the South Africans, but it's undeniable. So whatever I say, I'm not reinventing the wheel by talking about. We're literally stating facts. Like that is Ireland at home.
Yeah.
Right. There was a stat before the game that Rassie's never won in Dublin.
They've got a good
as
record
coach.
against the Boks, Ireland.
Beat them
Really
at the
good
World
record.
Cup. And I've never seen a tier 1 team, apart from England in the World Cup in the last part of the game when the bomb squad came on, but from a 1 to 80 minutes where a team has been so dominant at scrum time.
Yeah. One of the things with Ireland, and they'll look at themselves as they always do, but a little bit they were masters of their own downfall. So what happens in just before half time with those scrums was a consequence of Jack Crowley sticking his hands in the cookie jar and giving that penalty and yellow card away. He didn't need to do it. And then obviously they get an advantage, play, get to the scrum at some point. And then obviously Porter's had 2 or 3 scrums previously to that where he's got hosed. And so the ref's like, I'm going to have to yellow card you the next time it happens. So, but if you get to half time and Jack Crowley hasn't put his hand in there, it might be, I'm not saying it's a different game, but the consequences of actions before are huge, especially when you've got such a strength in the scrum.
So
and
it's
it's
a
the same,
really good point, that.
Yeah, and the same with James Ryan's clear out. Didn't need to do that. And you've had a try chalked off because of it. So momentum swings in the game. When you're playing the best, you've got to be right on the money. And South Africa are the best, as we've said. You've got to be right on the money throughout the game. But you can't lose your discipline. Like there was a clean out before from James Ryan as well, where he's literally jumped over
Well, that's
someone.
how he cleans out.
Yeah, but this is the thing. So the discipline factor, when you're under pressure in a game, and then you add to it by doing things you don't need to do, which lead to a scrum, which lead to another yellow card, and then another yellow card. And it was their masters their own downfall in a way, but also we're here waxing lyrical about the Springbok. I don't know how you stop it. Name me a team that could stop that scrum in World Rugby.
There isn't.
There you go.
In history, there isn't.
So let's get rid of scrums then for everyone else to have a chance.
Just on
Is what
that
you're
thing,
saying.
France a little bit. It was a little bit hit. I mean, they turned the power on in the second half, but first half France were there or thereabouts.
They don't look right at the minute, France. Something ain't right at that.
They look like they're a little bit.
They're worried, didn't they, that they're being spied on as well? You see, Fabian's like,
they need to get a bit they need a bit of milk in their coffee and a few less darts, sort of thing, pre-match. But
here's a question, Biggs. You're doing the TV at the minute, so you might have a different perspective from that side of things and being fresh out of the game. So for those people, as a fly half, just come out of the game, who are saying about the scrums and the time spent at scrum time is devaluing the growth of the game and bringing in new audiences, what do you say to that? I've given my opinion a million times on it. So what's your opinion?
I think it depends which side of the scrum you're on. If you're Jack Crowley or Sam Prendergast, you're probably looking for another way compared to Sasha Feinberg and Gunnar Zulu. But I think it's a weapon.
That's why he's on the pod.
I think it's a weapon.
That's why he's it.
It's why like that's how some teams will play. Some teams will want to move the ball. Some teams will want to avoid a set piece battle. But South Africa, France, in a sense, England, in a way, they'll want to keep the game quite structured and they'll want to go set piece to set piece. Teams like Scotland, Wales, even the All Blacks a little bit, sort of thing. They'll want to keep the game a little bit more in transition and avoid going set piece to set piece. But I think you saw the scrums 5 meters out on the weekend from South Africa, and that's not. Yes, they're important, and yes, they're the big moments, the penalty try and yellow cards, etc. But what you don't see is maybe a scrum penalty 60 metres from the opposition try line, which then gives you an entry into the 22.
Oh, Jim sees them all, don't you, James? You see all the South African penalties that they win.
But as well, what I'm saying is that just allows you to have possession to then go and launch and bring Damian Willemsen into the game, to bring Dialande, to bring Creel, to bring Colby, to bring Steph du Toit, Visa, these guys into the game in better position. So it's not just ability to just win a penalty 5 meters from the line and reset. Yes, there's an element of that, which I can imagine can be frustrating to some. But if you're a South African supporter, you're thinking scrums are the best thing in the world. Now, clearly, it depends what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah, the Aussies have been trying to depower it for quite a few years, haven't they? Because it's not a strength of theirs.
Yeah, well, if you're strong in it, you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you're strong in that area, you want more. And if you're not strong, you want less.
I'm on about the fan experience. That's the stuff that's doing the rounds. So, like, we're talking about.
It's only the fans that don't
teams.
like scrums because they're not very good at it that hate it. It's an integral part of the game, in my opinion.
I know, but South Africans. as we know, will love that because it's almost going against the grain of what everyone else is saying. But I'm just saying the general consensus from fans, from World Rugby, from other teams, from the referees, like it was, get the ball in, get it away.
Are you trying to say that? Are you trying to say that maybe that the penalty try should have been awarded?
Where was the yellow?
It's the
Three
scrum reset.
phases earlier, yeah.
It's the continuous scrum reset.
It's not even that. So for me, it's the fan experience in the stadium when that's going on. So people are talking about how long the game is. Slughands is nodding his head in the background. So people say 80-minute game is 130 minutes or whatever the game was at the weekend. For me, that's good. You've paid a lot of money, a shitload of money to go and watch the game in the Aviva Stadium, right?
Get longer.
Get longer in the stadium.
Yeah.
If they can make their moments higher jeopardy, better music, get some stuff on screen so you can actually get heart rate up on the screen to show what these players are putting their bodies through. Because someone tweeted me back saying, it's just a load of fat lads just melting around and pushing around. As we know, these lads are some of the fucking most incredible athletes in that front row. To be able to do that, then run around and make 25 tackles like the Scotland front row did against Argentina that no one's talking about.
Do you think the noise about the South African red cards midweeks affected some of the officiating?
No.
Yeah.
It must have, surely.
Well, Sasha Feinberg's Ngumazulu's one looked the same as the ones where the lads are getting red carded the week before. Yeah. I didn't think it was a red card to Mostart when he got sent off, and who was the other one?
We said it last week, didn't we?
Diego.
Yeah, Diego as well.
Yeah. Like we said it last week, the red card last week against Italy was ludicrous. And obviously, Rassie said a few bits, but I generally don't think many people know what the hell's going on with that at the minute, because you can interpret things in different ways. There's referees reffing it very differently as well. So, it's all on World Rugby to say, simplify it. And, we'll talk about the Tom Curry thing later with what happened against Argentina. He's never legal in making that hit, whether it's late or not. He's never legal. He's upright and he's late. And so the wording of everything, whether he's never legal and therefore it's reckless, therefore it's got to be a red card, all the things around it are, I think, a bit of a mess. The 20-minute red cards come in. We've seen refs over the first few weeks of this giving straight red cards.
There's too much jargon.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's too much mitigation, high degree of danger.
I personally think, like with the Sasha Feinberg and Ngumazulu one, the refs are now stuck between a rock and a hard place of not knowing where to go with it. Do I go to the bunker?
You have to feel for them.
Do I give a yellow?
It's impossible.
I mean, they're going into games just thinking, please don't let there be anything where you could say 20-minute red, straight red, yellow. But there's always going to be something because of the collisions. And it's down to World Rugby, I think, to clear a lot of stuff up. You need to come out, CEO, whoever's in charge of it, and just say, this is how we're refereeing it now. This is where we've had some grey areas. And the 20 minutes are a trial, isn't it, at the minute? It's still not fully factored in. And now they need to come out and be strong and say, right, we've had a load of things going on. Here are the protocols. We've simplified them. We're either keeping the 20-minute red in or not. We're going back to old school yellows and just go back to yellow cards.
So where this week, someone needs to come out to us as commentators, loosely, podcasters, idiots, and the fans, and then also these conversations that they'll be having with Rassie in the last couple of weeks, that they'll be having to Eddie Jones around the Japan incident, that they'll be having to Felipe Contepomi about the incident with Tom Curry. But surely there needs to be some kind of person fronting that.
We don't ever see that from World Rugby, do we?
We don't see that from World Rugby.
But I think we should give. Look, it's high. But in terms of that incident on the weekend, did you think it was a yellow or a red?
Which one?
Or a penalty? Sasha Feinberg.
I think it's yellow.
In the framework, personally.
But in terms of there's a lot which went on in that match, wasn't it? I mean, it was absolutely. I mean, if you're like you just said, Jim, if you're a referee, that's your worst nightmare. If you could plan ahead 24 hours, isn't it? In terms of if someone tells you that's going to be your game,
you're picking out 40 clips after that game.
So what I'm saying is, I think on the whole, generally, the other cards and the other big decisions, Matt Carley actually, I thought he got it all right.
Yeah.
So the Sasha Feinberg,
Sasha's a yellow.
I think that one is very debated. Probably got away with one there in terms of South Africa, but
he could have given another yellow to Ireland as well for the scrum.
But you look what else has gone on in that game, and it's absolute bedlam. So you think on the whole, we would say that Matt Carley got most of it right. Would you say? So he deserves a pat on the back for that. And
100%.
Stevie Ferris didn't think so.
But
Well, I
again, it's
spoke
going
to
to be a little
Steve,
bit. If you're Irish, you probably think, yeah, it's 100%, and we probably agree that it probably South Africa got away with not a yellow for that moment there. But on the whole, on everything else,
Yeah.
like you said, we like you said, we've been critical of referees before, but like it's a difficult match to referee that, and on the whole, I think he did a really.
I
good
thought
job
it was
of
great.
Yeah.
Stevie's point wasn't necessarily about the yellow cards. His is about the confusion.
Yeah.
And it's either let the boys play,
Yeah.
basically.
Only thing Matt Carley could have done worse at the weekend, in an Irishman's eyes, and I thought he had a good game, was walk into a pub and order a Guinness and blackcurrant. You've got-
Rumour has it that he did, and he thought, fuck it. He's like, I can't
going
get any
full.
worse. I'll have a Guinness and blackcurrant, make it a double blackcurrant shot.
How excited are you lads to go to Dubai this week?
Not very, because I'm not going, Rob.
Well, me neither, mate.
we
It's
go
funny,
to-
they invite me to Glasgow, they invite me to London, but when they're off to Dubai,
Hey, earn the
Where's the
stripes,
invite?
lads. Earn the
Rod,
stripes.
Rod, yeah, exactly. Rod, you don't even turn up to Glasgow.
I was busy. I was at Centre Parks. I had annual leaving.
I can't wait to go to Dubai. My brother's out there, got a load of mates. I don't wonder how many Dubai nationals will be there. It's just going to be expats, isn't
There'll be
it?
a few. There'll be a few.
Yeah.
Hey, mate, buzzing for it. It's a couple of days in the sun. It's been cold and miserable here. Leave the fam at home. Kids are asking if they're coming. No, girls, you're not.
Work.
It's a work trip.
So are you going to Dubai this week? I said, yeah, I think so. I knew it was. I said, yeah, I'm going to the Paramount Hotel for an already sold out show.
Amazing.
Yeah. So earn your stripes, Biggs. You'll be, even though you've kind of sorted it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think the stripes Rod, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
He wants to come, but Slughands is there anyway. Slughands will.
Well, we got
Slughands is going.
a couple more, I think, coming up in Hong Kong, Dublin, and London. So Rob could have the London one, no?
Cheers, lads. Brilliant.
Last time we took him to Dublin, missed his flight, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Mrs. put him on lockdown.
He
for a
needs the
week.
experience.
I mean, it should be class though. 350 pod fans Thursday evening, Paramount
gonna be
Hotel
wicked.
with GHA Discover. Brilliant. It's going to be absolutely epic for you boys. And if you are in Dubai, or if you're going to Dubai, and even if you're not, get yourself signed up to GHA Discovery. It's a loyalty program for 900 of the best hotels around the world. It's a really good time to be going there because they're one of the biggest players in the Middle East at the minute, Jim. With
Yes, sir.
Rotana joining the alliance in December. They're going to be the main guys there.
There you go. I love how Andrew is an avid goer of Dubai and the Middle East, and I signed up for the app, which I don't normally do, but it was worth it. I got a load of points, didn't know what to do with them. Andrew's like, mate, you can book hotels on there, and that's what I did. So I'm going for an extra day on there. I am, and it's completely free to join, and the first 100 people who sign up this week using the link on our website get platinum membership. What have I got?
Titanium.
We got titanium. Of course, is that better or not?
Yeah.
Oh, it is better. Yeah, but we're talking about it, so we've leveled up, which gets you a load of benefits like 10% off, free breakfast, Andrew, and late checkouts as well.
And everyone who signs up gets $50 for their first stay anywhere in the world. Perfect for Six Nations, away days, or some winter sun. Get the link on our website, therugbypod.com, and sign up so we can do more live events around the world and not be at home. Just be on the road in hotels, GHA Discovery hotels.
I love being on the road.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. Like, I was
You were saying this after New York a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
man.
you were always twisting about being on the road.
Hold on a minute. Where was GHA Discovery Hotels when you were in New York, pal?
That's what I mean. There you go. If I had
It's
GHA,
going to be a completely different experience
There you
this
go.
time around.
We'll just
I'm
stay with the
staying at the
cats.
Paramount.
Bedsit.
I'm staying at the Paramount Hotel. If I would have had GHA,
Yeah.
I would have stayed in West Village or East Village or Little Italy in New York.
Yeah.
So
Instead,
it is
you-
cool. I've had a bit of time to reflect. I'm being more present. I'm like, I love my job. I love my life. I love my wife. Yeah, so really cool. Looking forward to seeing everyone. We're on life on the road. It's Christmas, slug hands. Fucking Christmas in Dubai.
Well, England started with a dominant display, but another Argentina comeback. But I think let's start with the main talking point. And I feel like we're all going to disagree here. Two fly-offs used to getting smash kicking the
Yeah,
ball.
we're on the same page here, I think.
What do you
yeah.
think about Tom Curry hitting Juan Cruz Malia?
He didn't need to do it. Made no difference on the kick. Mali's already nailed the 50-22. So he's had no impact on the kick. He's come through, and in my opinion, it's late, which is why it's a penalty. He's, like I said, he's not in a great position. Didn't need to do it. For me, it was a little bit. He could have pulled out, and it had no effect on the on the actual play of the game. I don't know. And we're probably on the same opinion because we were probably on the receiving end of some things.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
want to hear Jim's opinion on this.
I see players do it all the time.
On
I see
kickers,
Curry do it.
Could he have pulled out?
Yes, he could have, yeah. So therefore it was a little bit reckless. The issue here in this one specifically is because Juan Cruz-Mali has been injured, which it seemed quite...
Just bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah, it seemed more bad luck as a... When it initially happened, I didn't see it.
there's bad
Well,
luck.
it's
and I
not
saw
bad luck.
it.
It's not bad luck if he's been hit late though.
No, but so when the chaos was happening and you saw Felipe Contepomi going ballistic, I'm thinking Tom Curry's flown out the line and gone for his knee. So that's what I'm expecting to see with what the fallout was. And then I saw it and I was like, he's a bit late. How's he injured his knee? Which he has. So if he's done that and not injured his knee, we're not even having the
No,
conversation.
I agree. He's been unlucky, Tom Curry, that it's all kicked off the back of it. But for me, and you'd be interested to hear your opinion, Goode, he's late, could have pulled out and could have prevented all of this being a story.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. And he's not deliberately trying to injure him. He's trying to leave a bit on him. And that's what back rowers do to fly halves, leave a bit on him. The problem for me with it is where Curry's coming from, he's not even going to get anywhere near the charge down.
So blindsided him, effectively.
And if you look at the impact, Curry's always illegal. He's upright. So when we're talking, going back to the referees and the framework and why there's been some red cards and some... One of the things they're saying, the reason for that is he's always illegal. Curry is always illegal because he's upright. It hits him chest on chest upright, which is what we see as an illegal position to be in the tackle. So he's never legally making a tackle. He's left it on him. He knows what he's doing. It's been part of the game for years. It's very unfortunate, and I say unfortunate, he's done his ACL by all accounts. So
has he done that?
to lose, well, the impact where he lands,
Like
so he hits him
doesn't
and
it?
jolts him, and the knee's just popped.
That's shocking. You can see why.
I mean, the big talking point is what's the fracas in the tunnel, right? Which has got no place for
What does
anything.
Steve say?
But the
That is what he said. I didn't see it.
But ultimately, and Felipe has a responsibility there. He's obviously gone up to Curry, or there's been a coming together, and he's saying something, and Curry's obviously shoved him and said "fuck off," which isn't. It's not great for the game that at all to see that. And then obviously on the pitch afterwards, I saw Maro legging it down the tunnel. Next minute he's back on the pitch.
I think with with this though, I think it's really. I always find like stuff like that goes on, and we all know when stuff goes on in the tunnel, it's a little bit like Chinese whispers. Like Contepomi's going to have his side
I
of it.
can only say Chinese whispers. You can't. Then you can't. Actually, it's coming back.
Curry's going to have his side. England going to have their side. England, and you probably get the truth somewhere in the middle. So I think for us now,
Well, the evidence on it. Sorry to interrupt. The evidence on it is Felipe Contepomi said in his press conference, "I hope they have cameras."
yeah, well,
in the tunnel, I'm sure they
then
do.
we can discuss it. But I think we're at the minute we can discuss the Curry incident because we all think of the same opinion that he was a little bit reckless and late and could have prevented it because we've seen that. But I think it's when you go into the tunnel and the changing rooms and things, I think we're probably just surmising a little bit or guessing a little bit. So I think, like I said, if they got footage and stuff and things will come out, but it's all very much, you know what it's like in the heat of the battle, emotional.
Let's just blow it up and say someone dropped the head on someone as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the camera.
Pizzagate like Arsenal Man U. Remember that back in the day?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the camera footage.
You must be pretty happy as an Englishman, you and Rod.
4 from 4. Hey, Rod.
What a shit old man crap.
Yeah.
England are good, mate.
Yeah,
England
a
are
good
a
team.
They
good
are
team.
good.
Yeah. And what did I say a few weeks back?
That George Ford shouldn't be playing 10.
No.
He did.
No, I said I'd have gone with Finn Smith, but what did I say a few weeks
Max
back
Jomo.
about Max
Yeah,
Jomo?
you said it.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible player, performance. That's his first start, and he's obviously starred for Bath, hasn't he, over the last few years? And he's been given his opportunity. And you look at the 12 jersey, and everyone was clamouring for Farrell to come back or should be in the squad somewhere. Dingwall and Max Jomo have got under 10 caps each, I think. Obviously, I think that was Max's second cap or third, whereas Dingwall's only got 9, I think. And they've been two of the standout players for me. Max was phenomenal, I thought, the weekend. The crossfield kick, the offload for the try for Slade, obviously the crossfield kick for Faye Boso, his own reading of the game where he gets his try in the first half as well. His ball skills, he's the complete player. You know, he moved into 10 earlier in the season, didn't he, when Finn was away, and looked comfortable in that position. So as a ball player, as a 12, and the skill set he's got at the line, the offloading game, that try that he creates for Henry Slade, where he's powerful, he's got great footwork, and he's still got the ability to get the ball with a sick offload out the tackle, nearly as good as Lewis Rees-Summits at the weekend. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but Max Jomo, so happy for him. He's been waiting and waiting for that opportunity and belief that Steve or someone can give an opportunity. And with Lee Blackett going in, how well he knows him, he did brilliantly and deservedly got man of the match.
Yeah, I fully agree. I thought, from an English point of view, you forget about the 4 wins because that clearly that's important, and I think they've been really, really good. I really like this England team. I think there's
nice.
Steve has.
You like England? A Welshman likes
I've always
England.
said you're giving me some unfair stick. I lived in England for 4.5 years. Still got a house there, so.
Paying your tax on that? Or?
I am indeed, yes, Andrew. Thank you. I really like this England team, what it's about. I think they've got a good balance of youth and experience in terms of some real sort of old heads, your Jamie George, your Fords, in amongst your Pollocks, your Jomos, your Dingwalls. I think Steve deserves a lot of credit because 12 months ago, people were calling for his head.
Yeah.
England had lost 5 on the spin, was it? So it just goes to show how quickly things can turn in terms of he was in a lot of trouble 12 months ago. Fast forward 12 months, they've now gone 11 on the spin.
Yeah.
He's surrounded himself with good people in terms of bringing Lee Blackett in terms of McGuigan coming in as well, Brian McGuigan coming in. So he's surrounded himself. He's made the team likeable, and he's made the team connected with the public in terms of bringing some youth in, but sticking with some experience. They've found out a little bit about that problem position in terms of 12 pre-autumn, where we thought who's going to be in, is Farrell going to have to come back in, things. I think Dingwall and Jomo have been really good, different players.
Yeah,
I think with Fraser Dingwall you get just absolutely rock solid, nice, and sort of moves the game around in terms of helps the 10s, how he communicates, and then you've got a little bit of a point of difference with a Jomo with his kicking game, offloads, X factor-ish. And I think on the whole, massive success and massive ticks. What I would want to say, and this is coming from someone who I really like this team, but I suppose we've got a responsibility as well here, and the whole public of as soon as an England team does well, whether it's football or rugby or whatever, everyone now it's like, okay, we're as good as South Africa, or we're going to win the
I
World
don't
Cup.
see anyone that said that though.
But I think Rob said it. Rob said it.
Rod.
But generally, it's, like I said, I think massive pats on the back, really, really in a good place in English rugby. Now, the next stage is how, I think Saturday probably showed as well how far off they are in terms of the top team in the world.
Not far.
But what does success look? And there's a big difference between, say, failure and disappointment in terms of Six Nations. This team hasn't won. This team is 11 on the spin, hasn't won a Six Nations since 2020. What does success look like for this England team in the Six Nations now after what we've seen in the last 12 months?
I think they need to win it. And I say that because of the investment that's been put into Steve Borthwick. Was it his 40th test at the weekend? Yeah. And the chopping and changing they've had with staff members. They've now got, you mentioned the coaches like Lee Blackett, who they would have had to pay Bath to get him out of his contract.
Byron McGuigan's had a big impact as well.
Byron McGuigan as well.
Because our defence last year, when it was just under Joel Alabd, was shocking.
Phil Morrow's come in as performance director from Sarries. He was in contract there.
Good guy.
So they've not only got an embarrassment of riches in certain positions in the team, they've also got the luxury that Scotland don't have, just because we might even reference them at some point in the show. You look at the coaches that Steve's brought in and the chopping and changing. Allard Walters in and is left. Felix Jones in, left, didn't work.
Yep.
But the quality that they've managed to bring in and add layers, these are big salaries that are coming in. I don't know, we're talking about money.
No, that's a good point.
But the expectation would be from the RFU is, right, we've got the enhanced player contract, so we're paying some of these players, and we're also having to pay coaches out of their contracts to come in. Yeah. So we expect you to win the Six Nations, and we'll go through where their fixtures lie as well.
Well, this is the big thing. When you talk about the fixtures, I think the big thing, what would be deemed as success, is going to round 5 against the French away, where there's a Grand Slam on the line. And if you don't win it, you're disappointed. But how that game, like our first game, we got Wales at home. No offence, Biggs, I think we'll be all right. Scotland away is always tough for us. So to be successful, you've got to go and win there. Ireland at home.
That'll be epic.
Yeah, it'll be epic, but we beat them at home last time. And in reality, we should be beating Ireland at home now, if you're considering yourselves as a top team. Italy away, we've never lost to Italy. And then France away as the kind of Grand Slam decider.
Great time to be in England. So when you look at it like that,
just about, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they've built up a real connection with the the fans, the supporters, the mix of youth, the sort of the young superstars like your Pollocks, your Freemans, and these guys are in amongst sort of George Ford, who's still sticking around and just running the show there, still with the potential of Owen Farrell coming back in to strengthen the team. Whether that's right, wrong, and different, that's in the conversation. They look like they've sort of mastered their bench. It's not they've sort of gone. They've thought, right, well, we don't maybe have to start with our so-called best players. So on the whole, I think there's a real positivity, and I've been really impressed with what Steve and this English team have done over the last 12 months. And I was chatting to a few people at Allianz Stadium yesterday, and they were saying, well, it would be a failure if they didn't win the Six Nations. And I just say it's not a failure. It's not a failure.
France away is a
but it would probably. I agree
fixture
with you, Jim. It would be disappointment if they don't turn this run and this momentum and positivity into some silverware, because they haven't won the Six Nations since 2020, mind.
Yeah.
So that's and you just said it, Jim. The investment, the player pool, the league, the Prem is a brilliant league, producing X amount of Lions and all the positives that we've just spoken about. Like 5 or 6 years, that's too long for England not to win a Six Nations.
If you're receding quicker than a prop chasing Cheslin Colby, Suns can help you slow things down.
Let's be honest, lads. Hair loss can creep up on you quicker than a Fijian offload. And once it's gone, it's hard work to win it back. But you don't need to bury your head in the scrum cap just yet.
Suns is a men's hair loss brand that makes tackling hair loss simple. There's no faff, no awkward trips, just clinically proven treatments delivered straight to your door.
The earlier you start, the better the results. Jim is still clinging onto his lid. I've been saved from a patchy backline already, and now you can get involved too.
So don't let your hairline collapse like a scrum. Take advantage of Sun's Black Friday sale and start your hair loss journey with 40% off, plus a free welcome bundle worth £75 when you order today. Take a free consultation and show hair loss who's boss at suns.co.uk.
How good was the pre-match stuff at the Principality?
Very good.
They do it right there.
Normally they do a really good job normally, and I think when they're
The big games.
But I think when you're trying to do, we did so with TNT pre-match, we did like a walk from the Angel Hotel, which is literally, a stone's throw away from the stadium. And you had like the Welsh choir, and then you came in, and then you had the a cappella version in the stadium for the anthem and the spotlight on the haka.
It's good of the Welsh to come out this time. They didn't come out a few years ago, did they?
Yeah, fair few years ago, they stayed in the changing rooms. Yeah, but I just thought that's what big match days are in Cardiff, rather than the. I know that they had the light show at half time, but like pre-match, it's all about the passion and the sort of the crowd getting involved and
The Welshness.
Yeah, you're right.
The heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, I know you want to go further into it. Watching it on TV, and we'll talk about the game and the fact that they did play as well as we've seen them play. But the whole build-up there, having played there so many times, and the emotion and the energy, it's one of the greatest places to play in the world. And I could feel it through the TV. I thought it was wicked.
And that's why I think the start and the way that the first 40 minutes transpired was so important to Welsh rugby, because they did everything right pre-match in terms of the light show, the a cappella version, the pre-match build-up. And it would have just been such a shame, which it had the potential to have happened in terms of New Zealand blowing Wales away and going 28-0 up inside 15 minutes. But what happened and what transpired was that Wales showed a huge amount of fight, a huge amount of... Do you know what, as well? People say just about fighting things. Wales scored some very good tries on the weekend.
Good attack.
So like, let's not just say, this was a gutsy effort. Yes, it was a gutsy effort in how they stuck in there, blah, blah, blah. But they scored some good tries. 4 tries against Argentina, 4 tries against New Zealand.
Marty Sherratt. Great coach.
They've obviously, this is again, we go back to like we've said about Wales being in a really tough space. But this is a new era under Steve Tandy. The positivity from his personality is clearly rubbing off on the squad and people around him. Now, Wales shouldn't be happy with conceding 52 points at home and losing. And they've conceded 50 against Argentina, 50 against...
No going out, Jim? When you concede 50, there's no going out, is there?
They might have gone out after that one. They might have 70 in their leadership group now.
But, so that's not... We can't be saying, right, that's it. But there was so much to fix in Welsh rugby. You cannot just fix everything like that. And ultimately... from an attacking point of view, before a ball was kicked this autumn, Wales are in a much better place than pre-autumn in terms of they've scored 4 tries against Argies, 4 tries against New Zealand. So attack-wise, they've moved the ball well. Wingers are scoring tries. Bit of a step back against Japan, but at the end of the day, it's a bit more positivity. And, you know, let's not talk about what's coming up Saturday with the Springboks in town. But you can't change everything. This isn't a 4-week project to fix the defence, to fix the mentality, to fix the scheduling, to fix the attack, kicking game, etc. So like they've clearly focused on the attack this campaign, and it's shone through in terms of scoring tries and being positive in that sense. Now, the next point is something where we spoke about at the start of the show, why South Africa are so good and why New Zealand are so good and why France are so good and England now at the minute is because they've got power. And they've got athletes across the board, but in particular in that pack where they can just, you saw New Zealand. New Zealand made 1,300 metres on the weekend. And you can't keep soaking a metre here, 2 metres there, 3 metres there. You just can't keep soaking up that much pressure without conceding points. And it's, like I said after the game, this is not you're not all of a sudden going to find big men or more powerful men in a week or 2 months. But this has to be like a 2, 4, 6 year project where Wales can really find some athletes and some more power guys to be able to match the teams, because ultimately you can have as much skill, heart and attacking prowess as you want, but if you haven't got the power to match teams, that's ultimately where you're going to fall short.
I think you found 2 of the big 5. There might be more than 5 things: attack, defence, scrum, line out, but the energy and the passion, which has been completely lacking for a number of reasons in Wales, not just internationally. And to do what they did, or you did, in that first half against the All Blacks, we're under a bit of pressure as well, to score tries, to have a little bit of shape. We're talking about Daffy Jenkins in the green room. The fact he's not captain now, I think he's been given a simple game plan by Steve Tandy. Be physical.
His best game in a Welsh shirt, I thought.
Just clear as day. What he probably initially got into the Wales squad was to go and bang people, and he was doing that. And I imagine with like Dowie Lake, with his leadership, with Plumtree in the back row, Joe Hawkins, how good was he, by the way?
Yeah, he added a little bit of, added a little bit more physical presence as well.
Yeah, and his passing game.
Yeah, his passing
and
game.
And again, I don't know all about the individual skill set of these players, but with the passion and the energy in the stadium, there was actually a few things where I was like, I can see it. And I mentioned it about Australia a couple of years ago.
What's happened to them?
Anyway,
it's too cold in Paris for them.
Statistically, Joe Smith, the worst coach I've had in years. Anyway, we'll get into it. But for me, as a rugby fan and as a Six Nations fan, advocate, and a Welsh fan as well, I've got mates involved in the setup. To see a few things, to see a few things that I'm like, the passion, the energy, sold out stadium, and some physicality, and a bit of see you next Tuesday. Loved it. Well, Biggs, we saw some green shoots already, but we have something big to announce for Welsh fans for the Six Nations, don't we?
We do indeed, Jim. We're buzzing to announce that we're teaming up with Vodafone, the Nations Network and proud partner of Welsh Rugby, to bring fans closer to the game this Six Nations. We'll be doing our biggest Rugby Pod live show yet in Cardiff with some Welsh legends, past and present, some YouTube live Q&As for our Welsh fans, and we also have 96 Nations match tickets to give away on the pod for Wales versus Scotland, men's and women's. And I'm going to take some fans behind the scenes at Principality Stadium with me for a private tour.
Well, this one is for the fans. Right, tell the listeners what they need to do to get involved, Biggs.
Okay, so to get involved, we want Welsh fans to send us in your inspiring stories. Who deserves the match tickets? So fans who've done something special, who've overcome challenges, or have given back to the community. You'll also be able to register at ticketpass.org to get free tickets to the Cardiff live event very soon. So stay tuned for that. And also a massive thanks to Vodafone for helping us bring fans closer to the game.
How do you win 56-0 and then come into the studio disheartened today, Jim?
Good win, Jim. Good win.
Because Tonga had 10 people playing. Oh, my discipline.
Yeah.
I'm disheartened because of the other games in around this. Don't want to keep repeating myself. USA, 82-0. Tonga, 52-0. You've learned nothing really either side of that. To be fair, we learned a little bit about some of the Scotland players coming into the Scotland setup and the shape, but it's a team run. That does nothing for our development going into the Six Nations. Whereas for Ireland's development in that game against South Africa, there's so much that you can take out of that, going down to 12 men, the fixes at the scrum, the fact that you were still in the game so you understand the culture around the team, England as well.
But Scotland have done this continuously, Jim, in terms of played these types of games.
I've
in the
asked the
autumn.
question. No
So
one
what I'm
knows the
saying is-
answer.
Not next year, though. Not anymore. Not with the Nation
No.
Series or whatever.
Well-
the Championship of Rugby internationally, because everyone has to play everyone next year. But I agree with you, Jim. You've been moaning about this for a while, haven't you?
Just because I know that we are better than the results show, and that isn't based on emotion and being close to the team. I had a bit of time to reflect on the Argentina game as well. I went back and watched large parts of it, and we were brilliant. Like the shape, the physicality. I referenced it earlier, like the front row making 25 tackles, the forwards, the amount of work they were getting through. When Argentina busted through the line, Blair Kinghorn zipping back. I don't even know how he's been done for offside. Yellow card. I've not. Didn't get to see it again. Darcy Graham fighting back. There's so many positive things. The only way, and again, I'm stating the obvious, we know better than anyone. Argentina are so much better now because they're in the championship. They're playing New Zealand, South Africa, every single year, Australia, when they want to be good. We ain't learning anything. We summer tour in America and Chile and Uruguay, USA. Fucking hell, we're giving back to the game, that's for sure. It could be a money play in the background.
But will Gregor be in charge of the Red Bulls before the Six Nations?
Willie, I could see it happening.
There's rumours circulating
Yeah,
online
there's-
now
yeah.
about
You could
what
see
that
Gregor
means.
getting ousted before the Six Nations.
If it happened,
Spiky
it wouldn't
interviews,
be,
weren't they, last
oh my
week?
gosh, we need to do an emergency podcast. Mike, I didn't see it coming. The conversation is who comes in then, and do I believe that Franco Smith's the right guy to take over? I know, look, we're jumping the gun here, but if the rumours are right that happens,
They're a bloody well coached team, though, Scotland.
Yeah.
You can see it because they don't get to 21-0 up against Argentina or the second half performance against the All Blacks and some of the performances. Like they're like whatever you say, they've clearly got a bit of a mental block on closing big games out and things like that, haven't they? That's clear for everyone to see.
Yeah.
But they are an incredibly well coached team. You look at them and they look a well drilled, organised outfit.
and that's the thing, right? So from a coaching perspective, to be in the positions to win games and to score the tries that we do, the shapes that we put on it, how much the coaches get out of the athletes that we've got, shows that they're well coached. For me, they're lacking a couple of things. Just a little bit of see you next Tuesday. You know, just a bit of, and leadership as well. Like I'm looking around, I'm looking at that team, and I'm like, who, like,
Surely I mean, have they not got that in terms of, you look at the spine of the team in terms of like Kinghorn to
go on.
to Finn Russell, Sione
Yep.
Sione in terms of
The thing is with Scotland, though, Biggs, is a lot of
So that's
these
three out of the back line
leaders.
there.
Yeah, these leaders are manufactured, right? And it was the same when I was there. Johnny Gray, we're going to make him captain. Based on what? And I understand that you need to develop leaders, right? But I think the Scottish system of how it's always been made up is there's this underdog mentality. There isn't an arrogance within the team, which we know Ireland have that, Peter O'Mahony's of the world. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. England, the list is endless. Wales back in the day with the likes of Mike Phillips and, you know, I'm just naming one, but you could go through like a group of players. Scotland, you tell me where you're like, fucking hell, he's the one. We've got wicked players. Ben White, brilliant. Finn Russell, world class. Sione Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones, Rory Hutchinson, Blair Kinghorn, Darcy Graham, Duan van der Merwe. Backs, all right? Forwards, you then step up, right? Because then backs, you'd be like, right, could they be in another team? Yeah, there'd be an argument that you could pick out players. Forwards, it's a different matter. And I think with the forwards, they're so well coached and they're getting the very best out of them. Tackle technique's amazing. The way they clear rucks.
where they ball
Great
play
set
as
piece.
well in terms of
Yeah.
Everything, the shapes on how the forwards are running straight balls out the back.
Yeah.
So they are really well coached. We're just lacking.
Is it not a
something.
consequence of depth, though? We've said this a few
Yeah,
times
it is,
now.
yeah.
The depth of rugby in Scotland, and there's two teams, and you're not producing masses of players through the school system or whatever. That's the consequence of it. And they are. I enjoy watching Scotland. They're a wicked team to watch at times, and they've played some really good stuff in the All Blacks game and the Argentina game. But they've never had this complete performance, have they, against a top tier nation in a short term history of however long we're going back. But one thing I disagree with what Gregor said. Gregor said they played some of the best stuff he's ever seen, apart from 20 minutes against Argentina. It was actually 40 minutes because the first 25, 20 minutes, however long it was, against the All Blacks was poor.
Yeah.
And then, you're battling to get back into the game. So they play some really good stuff. I mean, apart from Franco Smith, I don't see an alternative to Gregor to change something now when they are playing as well as they play. And I'll still say it, and I'm English or whatever, but he has got and is getting as much out of that group of players as he can. And there's just that last little bit that you're talking about, Jim, where maybe they need some psychology help or, a different voice, not over the top of Gregor, but in the coaching setup to give them belief.
I don't think it's belief. I think someone needs to be a bit harder on them. I don't know the environment. This is me just guessing. That's where Vern Cotter came in and shut things up, and I didn't have a great time with Vern Cotter personally, but what he did for the team, and he saw there was a soft underbelly, and it's easy to throw around soft, but you look at Scotland, you're not thinking complete dominance, are you?
So we're getting them hunting rabbits again.
Get
the rabbits.
Is that the solution?
Get the rabbits.
Yeah, it's not even allegedly. That happened, as we know. If they did bring a Franco Smith in, I'd love to see Greg Laidlaw. He's coming back from Japan.
Coach in the 20s, isn't he?
Yeah, they want to get him back into the system. He's doing a bit of TV as well.
Where does Scotland finish the Six Nations off the back of this autumn? Is it literally you don't really know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Fourth.
I can guess. I don't really know.
What are you guessing, Jim? Is it your year? Maybe if you don't say it's your year this time, then they might win it. Because every year you say...
It's not our year then.
There you go.
It's not our year. Right, Biggs, time for our smartest part of the show. The smartest call of the week, brought to you by our mates at Go.Compare, because using Go.Compare is the smart decision. You're up this week, Daniel Bigger.
well, given the amount we've spoken about the Boks and the scrum and the set piece this week, I feel like it's hard to look beyond that front row and the man behind that, Dan Haman.
Yeah.
So whatever he's doing behind the scenes is clearly working, and to have almost 3 or 4 front rows who could go up against every team in World Rugby at the minute is just a joke. And the decision and the timing to bring those guys on and effectively kill the game off is why he gets our Go.Compare smartest call of the week.
Dan Haman, the man.
Exactly. And you can make a smart call too. Head over to Go.Compare and see how much you could save on your insurance.
Well, we won't go in the weeds in this one, but how good are France's backline?
BLBRA, ridiculous. Do you see his try?
Yeah, so good.
Single-handedly just carved up chip, catch, regather, step, all in one motion. He was wicked. Deporter got a double, nearly got hat-trick, but only got 2. You know, you look at the depth they've got there. Calvin Gorge as well, who's come in from Toulouse, 21 years of age or something. He looks
Is that how
like
you pronounce that, Gorge?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he is Gorge as well.
Do you speak French, Rob?
What do you think?
See.
Bonjour.
And yeah, I mean, they're a threat, aren't they? They've got the hot and cold in them still as a French team. And the Australians did pretty well at times, but then obviously blew a gasket towards the end.
They look tired, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And we spoke about it last week. They got themselves, I mean, was it 19 all at half time, and they're in the fight till 60 odd minutes. And the power of the French came through. And when you've got BLBRA doing what he does, creating try, scoring try, he could have scored about 4, but he's very kind and generous, isn't he?
Give a couple away.
2v1s, just doing what every coach wants you to do, whereas other players have probably just skinned the last one themselves and scored it. But, yeah, I mean, it was Australia. We spoke about them last week. Absolutely done, aren't they? They need the bench.
Get 'em home.
Yeah, get them home.
It's interesting. We said about, like, the perception is like France have had a poor autumn, haven't they? In terms of not great against Fiji, lost against South Africa, who now everyone's saying, well, they're brilliant. And then a good sort of finish against Australia. So, like, 2 from 3, lost against South Africa. And I think when we talked about it, that finale potentially in the Stade de France for the Six Nations, there's going to be a certain Mr. Dupont who's going to be back on the field as well. So that probably, I would suggest, makes England's job a little bit harder to get the job done. So they're going to be, look, probably not at the heights they've been, but with him to come back, 2 from 3 in the autumn, loads of talent in the backs in terms of young, fresh, energetic players, world-class players. I don't think they'll be too disappointed with where they're at.
I think there'll be a few teams glad to see the back of the Quilter Nations series, won't they?
Australia certainly played 4, lost 4. They've had a tough year. Obviously, the emotions of the British and Irish Lions and everything they put into that, and then the fact that Joe Schmidt's off. He's a great coach, but as Jim said, what's the stat, James?
I don't know what the stat is, but
Statistically,
he's the worst coach they've had in years. Statistically, we know that isn't the case. They've played a shitload of rugby.
Yeah.
I think he's done a brilliant job to bring back the country to love their team again, and for players to want to come back into the setup. Joseph Suaalii, he's had a decent run with the team. There's clearly an issue now with players playing outside of Australia, which isn't nothing to do with Joe Schmidt, but the dynamics of that, and Will Skelton playing in France and Ickertown now at Exeter, Tupou as well leaving, and I do wonder if things were better in Australia, again financially as well, they'd have all their best players there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everything's about in fact I don't think, it's obvious that everything's around the 2027 and getting as many of the players fit, because when they're on,
they've got a good age profile of the squad, so they'll be there or thereabout in 2027 in terms of, like, I know they've had a really poor tour, but you look at the quality that they've got there, and they've got a good age profile and things. A home World Cup, they have to be there or thereabouts. In terms of getting the Australian public even more behind them. You know, the Lions tour towards the end sort of captured them a little bit, and then they went on to beat South Africa in Ellis Park. So they have to just hang on to more moments like that and build ahead of that big World Cup.
Well, with the international window almost finished, it means the Champions Cup is coming back in a couple of weeks' time. And to celebrate that, we're having our Christmas party in London to kick things off next Wednesday, the 3rd of December, with Premier Sports.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
You can get your tickets at ticketpass.org, and we're inviting a Sarries player and a Quins player to get the rivalry going, James.
There we go. Bit of dust up, is there?
And to celebrate the Champions Cup kicking off for this week only, Premier Sports are also giving away season-long subscriptions for only £80 using the code RugbyPod80. There'll be £120 from next week, so if you want to watch every match of the Champions and Challenge Cups, the URC and loads of top 14 action, get on this today because the offer ends on Friday. The offer is available on the Sky platform and Premier Sports player only. And we'll see everyone in London next Wednesday for some Christmas cheer after me and Big Jim Hamilton have been in Dubai.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. All right, lads. It's in. Let's get the party started. In other news. Come on, hit me.
Malcolm Marks, World 15 Player of the Year.
Yes.
Not a bad year.
Amazing
African.
Yeah. Only one that could win it, I reckon.
Some people are saying that World Rugby feel guilty on how the
Rassie.
Springboks have been treated. So the fact that no British and Irish Lions were in there.
Where was Tyburn?
Where was Tyburn, to be honest, on the nominees list?
Did you? There were, I mean, he would have been probably on the list, but I think the right player won it. Yeah. He's been amazing in terms of the scrum dominance, everything. But did you see the clip going around of the presentation in the Victor Matfield presented Marks in the changing room, and like all the players were all? It was like a proper. It looked like a club. Yeah. It was a club environment.
Do you know what the difference is with South African compared to any other team when that was going on? The physicality involved. He's getting filled in by his teammate. Of course he is after the game.
It was a really nice moment, though, wasn't it? In terms of like all the success they've had, they're absolutely thrilled to bits for him. The changing room looked together. It looked clearly happy. But you know, in terms of best team, best player.
What about Fabian Holland winning the breakthrough player?
Yeah, Fabian Holland, wicked player.
Should have been Henry Pollock.
Yeah, I didn't mention him actually at the beginning of the season when we were talking about the All Blacks back five weaknesses. But he's been incredible, Fabian Holland.
Do you know why I think Pollock? I was with you, but Pollock hasn't started a game for England.
True.
So can you give?
But is that more impressive though? The fact that what does he play like 100 odd minutes?
Yeah, there is. But I'm just thinking, can they give it to somebody who hasn't started a game of rugby.
It's breakthrough and impact.
Yeah,
Surely,
well,
I'm thinking. I personally think Pollock has had bigger moments and bigger standout bits and pieces. And
where they've missed out is social media. I mean, World Rugby, you could have blown up your social media channels with Henry Pollock winning it.
But maybe they've thought, can we give it to someone who hasn't started a game of international rugby?
I
don't
think
know.
Steve said no.
Yeah, well, on that, right, on the Henry Pollock stuff, Scout Berger, he's called Henry Pollock a TikToker who plays a bit of rugby on a weekend. Now, I can't work out whether it's Scout Berger, the player, or Scout Berger's dad, who's called Scout as well, senior, who is quite active on social media as well.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me, and you know I'm big on Henry Pollock, we called him out early as a player to watch. There's an old school in me. I don't like all this TikTok dance bollocks. I'm not saying that Pollock does that, but stuff's blowing up and rugby isn't there around.
You don't like it? I thought you were all over it a few months ago.
What?
TikTok dances, Instagram, like reels and all this stuff. No.
What do you mean all over it? All over what?
I thought you
People
were loving
dance on TikTok and that makes them famous.
Oh, no, not a TikTok dance, but social media you've been big on.
You've been big in the players bigging themselves up,
Yeah,
putting themselves
growing,
out there.
growing a
and-
brand, but firstly through their athletic capabilities
Right.
and being an athlete. I think anyone can go on TikTok and do a dance and look stupid.
It's for the kids, though. Kids are happy.
Yeah,
Kids are
but
trying it.
Kids shouldn't be on social media.
I agree. I 100% agree with that.
So I don't want to sound like an old school here,
Yeah.
but I understand what Scout Berger's saying. I mean, they're very different players. If it's Scout Berger, both great players, but he was a fucking savage.
But this is the
man.
thing. Like, it's different cultures. It's different eras, right?
Yes.
You think of our era when you used to get hammered for trimming your bush, right? And you think about things like that.
I did.
And the evolution of it all now. Now we can get hair transplants, James, can't we? You did. Like lads are getting their teeth done everywhere. And it's just play on.
And they're getting Marks and Spencer's deals. Yeah. It's all very
The
different.
reality of it is, like this younger generation, they're into that sort of stuff. And you've got to let them do what they want to do. And Steve obviously would have been like, what is TikTok? Can you get better technique on that dance that you four did?
I'm cringing. I'm not saying on Pollock, I'm cringing at some of the stuff that I'm saying. And I know my opinion doesn't mean much in this world, but let the athleticism show the value in what they are.
All right, let's finish things off with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, we're going to start off one game we didn't mention, and big shout out to the Japanese boys. They got a victory over Georgia in Tbilisi.
Yes.
Cockers going up against Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones got rid of Cockers from the England setup, didn't he, at one point? 25-23 with a penalty by Sung Sin Lee.
Legend.
That's how you say it. Prove me wrong. In the 80th minute to move Japan up to 12th in the rankings. And they pip Georgia when it comes to the World Cup draw next week. Angus Bell gets a shout out, not only for his 50th cap, but his pirouette, his step, and he's running it in from 35 metres out. Wheels.
Got
Wheels
injured
on the
though
lad.
as well, didn't he? Cheers, Ulster.
Mate,
Do you know what I mean?
don't be negative.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm just
it
talking
was
him up
great,
here.
but
Thanks, Ulster.
yeah,
I
that's
know.
Ulster you cocked.
You feel for him.
Merry Christmas.
What else was good? England 4 from 4 in the autumn. Steve Borthwick gets a shout out for that. Tom Rogers, hat trick.
Neil
Didn't really
Rogers.
mention him earlier.
Brilliant.
Very good to get a hat trick against the All Blacks.
Great jaw on him. Great jaw.
Strong boy. You'll dine out on that. Scoring a hat trick against the All Blacks in Cardiff. A few
Dine
after dinner
out,
speeches.
yeah, you're right.
I thought you were going to say hell of a piece as well. Dine out on that.
With
boys.
a jaw like that,
Yeah.
definitely, mate. It goes hand in
100%.
hand.
So big shout out to Tom Rogers. But the good this week goes to your South Africans
South
and
Africans.
Rassie. The scrum, Rassie is the best in the world by a distance at the minute. Malcolm Marks wins World Player of the Year. They dominate Ireland over in Dublin. Maybe not as dominant on the scoreboard, but it was a brilliant performance based on the scrum, based on the red and yellow cards. South Africa win the good this week. The bad, few bits of bad. Rodders, you won't be happy. Newcastle took 43 points at Sarries at the weekend in the Prem Cup. Did you see that?
Who's asked about the Prem Cup?
Foundations of a team like Newcastle Red Bull or Bulls.
We won last week. We'll have Gregor in a couple of weeks.
But
and
you
we'll
just
be
said
right.
who's bothered though.
We'll be right.
So they get mentioned the bad. Tonga took 56 at Murrayfield, and the discipline was shocking. So they all get mentioned the bad.
Anthems are good though.
The good anthems, yeah. But the bad this week, unfortunately, goes to Australia and their tour. Played 4, lost 4. Conceded 48 and 46 points in the last 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever come on tour and played 4, lost tour. Joe Schmidt and his Cats. Time to go home and get them beach, lads. So Australia, you win the bad this week. And then the ugly, couple of bits of ugly. Tonga's Samisi Paya, red carded for a clear out. The croc roll on George Turner. Not good, that, was it, James?
No. Sure.
James Ryan, he gets a mention in the ugly as well for his clear out on Malcolm Marks. Shoulder to the head, flying off his feet, tucked arm. That ain't good. And the whole Tom Curry, Felipe, Contepomi, fracas and scenes post-match, England-Argentina, scrapping in the tunnel, pushing, saying F off, whatever it was, and they're all coming out. It doesn't look good. So between James Ryan, Tom Curry, Felipe Contepomi and Samisi Paya, you're all having the ugly this week.
Here.
Shout outs to finish.
Yeah, as always, thank you to everyone who sends shout outs or comes up to us and asks for their son to get a shout out, which is the first one. Rory Salmon, me old Salmon, who is at Stavanger. Stavanger, is it? How do you know Stavanger?
Because all the riggers go there.
Oh, do they? There you go. I've got Stavanger. Producer Rob has educated me. So what's it called? Stavanger in Norway. Hello. Rory Salmon, me old fish. Your dad's asked if you can get a shout out.
Rory Salmon,
Bishopton.
the old fish.
He was at Bishopton on Friday night in Glasgow. And tough crowd in Glasgow, eh?
No, just a shit MC, but it was a great crowd.
Yeah,
they
I
loved
won't
it.
MCing, by the way. It takes them a while to warm up, and then you just go really loose. Anyway, Rory Salmon, me old fish. Big shout out to you in Norway.
I've just Googled it. It is Stavanger. I've got it fucking wrong.
Have you got it wrong? Okay, we'll stick with Stavanger. I got it right. Rob, you thought that Frankfurt was in Belgium, so don't listen to him.
Well in Rory. Also, we need to give a big shout out to Bishop Auckland Rugby Club, who after torrential rain a few weeks ago, the river next to the club burst its grounds and has completely flooded all of the playing pitches. They're in the process of repairing this, but obviously this has just disrupted their whole club. They're fundraising to try and help restore their grounds, so if you can help out, head to gofund.me and search Bishop Auckland Rugby.
And finally, we need to shout out the 4 retired rugby lads, Loz, Kerry, Justin and Harry, who have cycled 1 million metres, which is 621 miles, across 50 hours. They were raising money for Rugby Against Cancer, Charlie's Beach Hut, Rowan Hospice and Loosehead. So a massive shout out to the boys, and we hope the gooch and the saddle wasn't too sore, lads.
Yeah, do we need to give a shout out to our social channels, or are we all good? Are we flying, lads? We're racing to 100k though, aren't we?
TikTok dancing. I think we're going to do some TikTok dancing with slug hands.
I can tell you now we ain't. Just out of principle. But if you can take some images and make me look cool as fuck with some music, I'm all there for it. We're on the race to 100k followers, aren't we? Slow burner on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, it's hard on YouTube, yeah.
It's hard on YouTube.
We do big numbers.
We do big numbers.
Mate, we'll get people talking about it in Dubai this week, James.
Have a good week, boys. Enjoy
very
Dubai.
much.
I certainly
looking
will.
forward to it. Thank you to all the listeners, as always. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify, follow us on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a review. TikTok if you want to see some funny dances. We're not the channel for it, but we love you all, and Merry Christmas as we roll into December. Ho, effing ho. Rugby Spot.
Spotted pod.